You'll stop chasing when you realize that what's meant for you will never have to be begged for. My friends, let's get real for a second. How many times have you found yourself staring at your phone, waiting and hoping for that one text? You send a message, maybe casual, maybe vulnerable, and then nothing. Silence. It's like you just whispered into a black hole. Yet, instead of walking away, you keep checking your phone as if it's a magic 8-ball that will suddenly provide the answer you want. Let me tell you something. You are not alone, but you deserve better. Before we go any deeper, hit that like button and subscribe, because trust me, this one is going to shift your mindset. Stay with me. All right, picture this. You're standing in front of a vending machine. You put your money in, press the button, and nothing comes out. What do? Do you keep feeding it more money, pressing the button, hoping it'll suddenly work? No, you walk away because that machine is broken. Yet when it comes to people, we refuse to do the same. We keep investing time, energy, and emotions into someone who gives us nothing back. We tell ourselves, maybe they're busy, maybe they didn't see it, maybe I just need to try harder. No, my friends, stop that right now. Society has been selling us a scam for years. If you just love them harder, they'll realize your worth. If you just prove yourself enough, they'll choose you. Lies. A person who values you will never put you in a position where you have to prove your worth. Listen, you're out here watering a dead plant and wondering why it's not growing. But here's the truth. You are not the gardener. You are the garden. You are the sunlight, the soil, the storm, and the bloom. If someone can't appreciate your growth, it's their loss, not yours. And here's the kicker. If they truly wanted to talk to you, they would. Simple as that. When someone cares, they show up. When they value you, you don't have to send a reminder every time. Sending another text after being ignored is like walking into a room, placing your crown on the floor and saying, "Go ahead, step on it." For what? For breadcrumbs? For someone who treats you like a backup plan? No, my friends, you are not an option, a side dish, or a convenience. You are the main event, the chef, the table, and the 5-star review. Stop handing your worth to people who can't even afford the tip. Let me ask you this. Do you think legends waste time chasing? Do you think Beyoncé waits around for a text? Does Elon Musk stop innovating because someone left him on red? Hell no. They focus on their empire, their purpose, their power. And that's exactly what you need to do. You see, when you chase, you rob people of the chance to miss you. When you keep showing up, texting, checking in, you remove the opportunity for them to realize what they lost. Why should they value you when they know you'll always be there waiting? Let's be real. A lion never begs a gazelle to stay. A king doesn't plead for a seat at his own throne. And you are royalty. Stop chasing. Start building. The harsh truth is that every time you let yourself be ignored, you're teaching your own mind that their validation is worth more than your self-respect. You tell yourself lies like, maybe I need to change, or maybe I'm not enough. No, you are enough exactly as you are. If someone can't see that, that's their blind spot, not your burden. And here's the best part. Today, you take back your power. No more waiting, no more chasing, no more refreshing that chat like your happiness depends on it. It's time to step into your glow. You are the prize, the priority, and you deserve to be loved boldly, loudly, and without question. Write this in the comments right now. I am the prize. I am the priority. Type it, say it, own it. Because when you start believing this truth, the game changes. No more chasing, no more waiting, no more hoping, just you thriving, rising, and becoming the version of yourself that never begs for what's already yours. Stay with me, because we're about to break this down even further. How to reclaim your power, flip the script, and make them realize exactly what they lost. This glow-up is going to be legendary, so hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready because this is where it all changes. Let's do this. Number 1. Wake up, folks. Stop begging a clown to see your crown. If someone treats you like an option, leave them like a choice. And yet, here you are, waiting for a message, a sign, a moment of validation that might never come. Staring at your phone thinking, maybe they're just busy. Maybe they'll realize what they have. Maybe if I just try a little harder, they'll see my worth. Wake up. Imagine walking into a high-end boutique with a diamond ring. You place it on the counter, and the jeweler barely looks at it before offering you a couple of bucks. Would you take it? Would you shrug and say, well, maybe that's all it's worth? Of course not. You'd laugh and walk out because you know the value of what you're holding. So why then do you keep trying to prove your worth to someone who doesn't even care enough to look? Here's the harsh truth. You're out here shining like gold, and they're treating you like a clearance item at a thrift store. You're waiting for a clown to recognize your crown. And let me tell you something. A clown doesn't respect royalty. They just want entertainment. I get it. You've invested time, energy, and emotions. You believed in their potential. You saw something in them that maybe no one else did. And the thought of walking away feels impossible, like all that effort would have been for nothing, as if you'd be throwing away something that could have worked if only you held on a little longer. That's the lie, isn't it? The little story you keep telling yourself. Let me break it down for you. Love is not a game of endurance. You don't win by being the one who holds on the longest. You don't earn someone's love by proving you're worthy of it. With the right person, you won't have to convince them. You won't have to remind them to text back. You won't have to chase, beg, or play guessing games, because someone who truly values you will never put you in a position where you have to wonder if they do. But fear keeps you stuck. What if I walk away and they finally realize they love me? What if they change? What if I never find someone else? Let me tell you something. They won't change. Not for you, not now, not ever. Because the second you accept less than you deserve, you're telling them it's okay to treat you this way. And the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to leave, because you start convincing yourself that this is normal. It's not. You keep thinking that if you let them go, you'll regret it. But the truth is, the only regret you'll have is not leaving sooner. Do you know how many people wasted years waiting for someone to wake up and realize their worth? Years they could have spent thriving, growing, and being truly loved by someone who sees them, chooses them, respects them. But they didn't walk away. They held on, believing in a fairy tale that never existed. Let me hit you with something real. You don't lose people who genuinely care about you. They lose you. So stop waiting, stop hoping, stop making excuses for someone who has already shown you who they are. Pay attention to actions, not words. Anyone can say, I care. But if they cared, you'd know it. You wouldn't have to wonder. The world has tricked you into thinking that if you're patient enough, if you love hard enough, if you prove yourself enough, they'll finally see your worth. But here's what they don't tell you. The moment you have to prove your worth to someone, you've already lost. Because a real one, they already see it. They don't need convincing. They don't need a second chance to treat you right. And I know what you're thinking. But what if I'm the problem? What if I just wasn't good enough? Stop right there. The fact that you're here listening to this means you already care more than they ever did. If they couldn't see your heart, your effort, your love, it's their loss, not yours. You don't have to be more of anything for the right person. So today, you make a decision. Stop begging for the bare minimum. Stop lowering your standards just to be chosen. Stop waiting for a message that may never come. Walk away, not because they don't matter, but because you matter more. And here's your affirmation for today. I am worth more than bare minimum love. Write it in the comments. Show yourself. Show the world. Claim it, own it, live it. And stay with me because next, we're diving into something even deeper. Why holding on to them is killing something even more important: yourself. Number 2, while you're watering dead grass, your garden is dying. The wrong person makes you beg for attention, affection, and love. The right person gives it freely. And yet, here you are, watering dead grass. You pour your love, your energy, your time into someone who gives you nothing in return. You keep showing up, hoping that one day they'll notice, that one day they'll appreciate everything you've done, that if you just love them hard enough, they'll finally love you back. But let me ask you this: how long are you willing to keep feeding something that refuses to grow? Imagine standing in a field, watering a patch of dead grass every single day. The sun is blazing, your hands are tired, your knees are scraped from kneeling, and still nothing changes. No new life, no fresh green, no flowers blooming, just dry, cracked soil that refuses to give you anything back. Meanwhile, right behind you, your own garden is dying. That's what happens when you keep investing in someone who doesn't invest in you. Every time you send that text, every time you make that call, every time you bend over backward just to get a crumb of their attention, you are stealing from yourself. You are taking all that love, all that care, all that energy, and wasting it on someone who isn't even looking. And I get it. You don't want to walk away. You think, but what if I stop trying and they finally realize what they had? What if they change? What if they start loving me the way I love them? But here's the truth: they won't. Because the problem was never about you trying too little. The problem was them never trying at all. Love isn't something you have to beg for. Attention isn't something you should have to earn. The right person shows up. They make an effort. They water the relationship just as much as you do. But when you're the only one doing the work, you don't have a relationship. You have emotional labor. And labor without return is just self-sacrifice. You keep telling yourself that if you just hold on a little longer, things will get better. But let me tell you something. Nothing thrives where it isn't meant to grow. You can't bring a dead thing back to life by wishing it were different. And do you know the worst part? While you're out there trying to revive something lifeless, you're neglecting yourself. Your confidence is fading. Your happiness is dying. Your energy is draining. You've been so focused on fixing them that you've forgotten to take care of you. You've spent so much time making sure they feel loved, appreciated, and chosen. But who is doing that for you? I'll tell you who should be doing it: you. Because let's be real, if they were going to give you what you deserve, wouldn't they have done it by now? If they truly saw your worth, would you even be questioning it? Love isn't about potential. Love isn't about waiting for someone to change. Love is action. And if they aren't showing up for you now, they never will. But you've got a choice to make. You can keep watering dead grass, hoping for a miracle, or you can turn around, walk into your own garden, and start growing yourself. Because the second you stop chasing, the second you stop wasting your love on the wrong person, something beautiful happens. You bloom. You start pouring all that energy back into yourself. You remember what it feels like to be free, to be whole, to be enough without someone else's validation. And that's when you attract what's truly meant for you, because a person who deserves you won't make you beg for their love. A person who truly values you won't make you question if they care. The right love won't drain you. It will water you. So today, you make a decision. Stop waiting for them to wake up. Stop begging for what should be freely given. Stop investing in someone who never invested in you, and you start choosing self. Here's your affirmation for today. I deserve to be loved the way I love others. Write it in the comments, say it out loud, let it sink in, and stay with me, because next we're pulling back the curtain even more. Why you keep holding on to the illusion instead of seeing the reality. You don't want to miss this. Number 3. Stop living in delusion. Wipe the fog and see the truth. The biggest lie you'll ever tell yourself is that they just need more time to realize your worth. And yet here you are, waiting, hoping, giving them space, making excuses, convincing yourself that if you just love them harder, wait a little longer, prove yourself a little more, they'll finally see what they have in you. Let me save you from wasting any more of your time. They already see you, they just don't care enough to hold on. I know that's brutal, I know it stings, but what stings even more is lying to yourself while wasting your own life. Picture this. You're standing in front of a fogged-up mirror. You can barely see your own reflection, but instead of wiping it clean, you keep staring, squinting, trying to make out a clearer image. You convince yourself that if you just tilt your head the right way, if you adjust your perspective, you'll finally see what you want to see. But that's not how clarity works. The truth isn't found in tilting your head. The truth is in wiping the fog away. And that fog, it's made up of every excuse you've been feeding yourself. Maybe they're just bad at texting. Maybe they're scared of commitment. Maybe they've been hurt before. Maybe they just need time to figure things out. No, maybe they just don't care enough. That's the part no one wants to say out loud because it hurts, because it forces you to accept that all the love, effort and patience you poured into them wasn't enough to make them choose you. But here's the truth that will set you free. Love that is real doesn't need to be proven, justified or waited for. It shows up, it chooses you every day. And if you have to beg for someone to be sure about you, they've already made their choice. So why is it so hard to let go? Because your mind has convinced you that their lack of effort isn't rejection. It's just a puzzle that needs solving. You believe that if you can just figure out the missing piece, the perfect message, the right approach, the right version of yourself, they'll finally love you the way you deserve. Stop right there. You are not a riddle that needs solving. You are not a project that needs fixing. You are not a second-place prize that needs to prove itself worthy of first. You are already enough, exactly as you are. The problem isn't you. It's the fact that you're seeing them for who you wish they were instead of who they actually are. If someone wanted to be in your life, they would be no hesitation, no games, no hot and cold nonsense. Love doesn't operate in confusion. Think about it. When someone truly values you, do they make you doubt it? No, because real love doesn't put you in a position where you have to wonder. So why do you keep convincing yourself otherwise? Because the truth is painful, and your brain would rather live in false hope than face reality. But here's the thing about reality. It doesn't care how much you ignore it. It doesn't change just because you wish it would. The person you're waiting for is already showing you how they feel about you. You just don't want to believe it. So today, I need you to do something. Wipe the fog away. Stop romanticizing the potential of what could be. Stop replaying the good moments and using them as proof that there's still something there. Stop feeding yourself the lie that if you just hold on a little longer, they'll come around. They won't, because the right person doesn't need time to see your worth. They recognize it immediately. And I know what you're thinking. But what if I'm wrong? What if they really do love me but just don't know how to show it? No, people who love you show up, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's difficult, even when they don't have the right words. They still make sure you know. So if someone is making you question whether or not you matter to them, you already have your answer. And that's what makes this so hard, right? Accepting that you were never the exception. Because deep down, you believed that they would change for you, that you were different, that despite their past, despite their history of half-love and empty promises, they would finally show up for you. But they didn't. And now you have two choices. You can keep staring into that foggy mirror, hoping for a different reflection, or you can wipe it clean and finally see things for what they are. Because the moment you do that, the moment you let go of the fantasy and accept reality, something powerful happens. You take your energy back. You stop waiting. You stop wondering. You start living for yourself again. And let me tell you something. When you finally see the truth, you'll wonder how you ever believed the lie. Because one day, you'll look back at this moment, at this pain, and you'll be grateful you walked away. You'll see them exactly for who they are, not as a lost opportunity, but as a lesson that set you free. So today, you make a choice to stop waiting, to stop wishing, to wipe the fog away and see the truth. And here's your affirmation for today. I choose clarity over delusion. I deserve love that is certain. Write it in the comments, say it, type it, claim it, and stay with me because next, we're diving into something even more powerful. How to break free from the illusion of fake effort and recognize when someone is just keeping you on the hook. Number 4, don't let a text trick you. Keep your crown and play it smart. A real connection doesn't come with mixed signals. If you have to decode their intentions, they're not that into you. And yet here you are, staring at that screen, heart racing, brain spinning. A message pops up. Hey, you up? I miss you. Been thinking about you. And suddenly every ounce of logic flies out the window. You were doing fine, moving forward, maybe even convincing yourself that you were done, and then boom, one little text, and you're spiraling. Stop, breathe, don't fall for it. You ever been to a magic show? The magician waves a hand in the air, making you focus on the movement while the real trick is happening somewhere else. That's exactly what these texts are, a distraction, a sleight of hand. They're not a genuine effort to fix things. They're just enough to keep you hooked, just enough to make sure you don't fully walk away. Because here's the truth, if they truly missed you, they would have done something about it. A real apology comes with changed behavior. A real effort comes with consistency. A real relationship doesn't dangle you like a toy, only picking you up when it's convenient. But that "I miss you" text? It's bait, a little breadcrumb to keep you attached, to keep you wondering, to keep you available. They're not offering a seat at the table, they're throwing you scraps. And what do? You sit there trying to make a meal out of crumbs. It's time to wake up, because let's be honest, what happens after that text? You respond, feeling a rush of hope, thinking maybe this time it's different. And for a moment, it feels good. They reply, maybe even flirt a little. You smile at your phone, and then silence again. You're right back where you started, staring at a screen, waiting. And that's the cycle, the push and pull, the emotional roller coaster they keep you on. And every time you play along, you teach them one thing. They don't have to do the real work to keep you around, because you'll be there the moment they drop a few words your way. I get it. I really do. That text makes your brain light up like a slot machine. It feels like validation, like a sign that they do care, that maybe they've finally realized. And you don't want to ignore it, because what if this is the moment they change? But let's be real. How many times have you been here before? How many times have you let yourself believe that this time is different only to find yourself right back in the same place? It's like going to a restaurant where they keep serving you cold food. You complain, they nod, they bring you another plate, still cold, and you just sit there accepting it, hoping that eventually they'll bring you something hot. Spoiler alert, they won't. If they cared enough to give you what you deserve, you wouldn't have to beg for it in the first place. Here's what they don't tell you about real love. It's not confusing. It's not a puzzle you have to solve. It's not a guessing game where you sit there wondering what every text means, what every silence implies. When someone genuinely values you, you don't have to decode their words because their actions speak loud enough. So let's talk about the real reason you keep falling for these texts. It's not because you're weak. It's not because you don't know better. It's because you're hopeful. Because deep down you still want to believe that this person is capable of being who you need them to be. But hope is a double-edged sword. Hope can keep you going, or it can keep you stuck. And right now it's keeping you stuck. Because while you're sitting there analyzing every word, wondering what they really mean, what they really feel, guess what? They're living their life, moving on, texting you when they're bored, lonely, or looking for an ego boost. You deserve better. You deserve someone who doesn't send empty words at 2 a.m. You deserve someone who makes it clear that they want you. Someone who doesn't just drop crumbs and expect you to be grateful. So what do you do when that text comes in? You ignore it. You delete it. You remind yourself that you are the prize, not the consolation. And I know that's easier said than done, because ignoring means closing the door on a part of you that still wants to believe. It means facing that little ache inside, the part that wants to respond, wants to hold on. But the moment you don't respond, the moment you choose yourself over the little dopamine hit of a half-hearted message, that's the moment you start taking your power back. And guess what? That's when they notice. Because when you stop reacting, when you stop being available every time they decide to dangle a breadcrumb in front of you, they feel it. They realize that something is different, that maybe, just maybe, you're not sitting around waiting anymore. And that's when the game changes, not because you're playing hard to get, not because you're being petty, but because you finally decided that you're not playing at all. You're done. Done settling, done accepting less, done mistaking inconsistency for effort. So here's what I want you to do. When that message comes in, instead of answering, ask yourself, does this person's actions align with what I truly want? Do they make me feel valued, respected, chosen? If the answer is no, then you already have your answer. Here's your affirmation. I deserve real effort, not breadcrumbs. Write it in the comments, say it, mean it, own it. Because the moment you believe it, everything changes. And stay with me, because next, we're talking about something even more powerful. Why silence is your greatest weapon. And trust me, when you master that, they'll never know what hit them. Number 5. Shut up to show up. Silence screams louder than begging. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. And yet here you are, typing, deleting, typing again, staring at your phone, fighting the urge to send one more message, a check-in, a "Hey, hope you're good," a meme, a song lyric, something, anything to remind them you exist. You tell yourself it's harmless. You just want to keep the connection alive. You're just trying to be nice. But deep down, you're waiting for a reaction. You think that if you stay silent, they'll forget you. That if you don't reach out, the space between you will grow until they move on, and you'll be the only one left hurting. But here's the truth. Every time you break your own silence just to remind them you exist, you lower your value in their eyes. Silence is power, and right now you're giving yours away. Imagine this. You're in a room full of people, all talking at once, voices overlapping, conversations blending into noise. But then suddenly one person, just one, goes completely silent, stops talking, stops reacting, stops engaging. What happens? People notice, they stop and look. They wonder what changed. They feel the absence. Now think about your situation. You've been chasing, checking in, reaching out, keeping the connection alive. But what has it gotten you? A breadcrumb here, a half-hearted reply there, maybe even complete silence in return. And what do? You double down. You tell yourself, maybe they didn't see it, maybe I should try again. Stop right now. Want to make a statement? Disappear. Let them feel your absence. Let them wonder where you went. Let them realize that you were the energy, the warmth, the effort, the one who made things feel alive. Because here's what they won't tell you. People don't appreciate what's always there. They don't stop to think about water until they're thirsty. They don't miss the sun until they're standing in the cold. The more you chase, the more they pull away. The more you talk, the less they listen. But when you fall silent, when you step back, that's when they start paying attention. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what if they don't notice? What if they never reach out? Then you have your answer. If your silence doesn't make them curious, if your absence doesn't make them feel anything, then what was your presence worth to them in the first place? Nothing. And that's exactly why you need to stop giving so much of yourself to someone who wouldn't even notice if you were gone. This isn't about playing games. This isn't about manipulation. This is about self-respect. Because every time you send another message, every time you reach out to check in, every time you remind them that you're still there waiting, you shrink in their eyes. They don't have to value you because they know you'll always be around. And when someone knows you'll always be there, they take you for granted. But when you stop, when you go silent, when you stop feeding their ego with your attention, that's when they feel the shift. And let me tell you something. Silence is loud. It's deafening. It creates space. It forces reflection. It makes people wonder, question, and most importantly, miss you. And if they don't, if they're completely unbothered by your absence, then congratulations. You just dodged a lifetime of being underappreciated. I know it's hard. I know every part of you wants to send that message, break that silence, just to feel connected again. But ask yourself, what has breaking your silence ever truly gotten you? Another cycle of false hope? Another moment of being treated like an afterthought? Another hit to your self-esteem? Because that's what it is, isn't it? Every time you break your own silence, every time you reach out first, every time you remind someone that you're still waiting, you're telling yourself, my self-worth depends on their response. It doesn't. Let them sit in the silence. Let them feel the distance. Let them be the one who wonders for once. And more importantly, let yourself detox from the addiction of seeking their validation. Because that's what this is, an addiction. You're hooked on the tiny highs of their responses, the illusion of closeness, the hope that this time will be different. But it won't be. Not until you do something different. And today, that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to stop begging for attention and start commanding respect. You're going to stop filling the silence with words and let it speak for you. You're going to stop chasing and let what's meant for you come to you. Because when you stop talking, when you stop reaching out, when you stop giving your energy to someone who doesn't deserve it, that's when they finally understand what they had. And if they don't, then they never deserved you in the first place. So here's your affirmation for today. My silence is my power. Write it in the comments. Show yourself. Show the world. Claim it, own it, live it. And stay with me because next, we're talking about something even bigger. The moment you take back control and start steering your life in the direction you deserve. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Number 6, stop letting them drive. Take the wheel and own your worth. The moment you hand someone else the keys to your life, don't be surprised when they drive you somewhere you never wanted to go. And yet, here you are, buckled in the passenger seat, watching someone else decide the direction of your life. You sit there, waiting, hoping they'll take you somewhere good, that they'll choose the right roads, that they won't leave you stranded in the middle of nowhere. But let me ask you something. When did you stop being the driver? When did you decide that your happiness, your choices, your future were better off in someone else's hands? Maybe you didn't even realize it. Maybe it started small. A little compromise here, a little silence there. You let them pick the destination, thinking as long as we get there together, it doesn't matter. But it does, because now you're lost. You've ended up somewhere that doesn't feel like home, somewhere that doesn't even feel like you. And the worst part, you keep telling yourself that if you just stay in the car a little longer, if you just trust them a little more, maybe, just maybe, they'll finally take you where you deserve to be. But they won't, because they're not driving for you, they're driving for themselves. Wake up, your life is not an Uber ride. You don't just sit back and hope for the best. You don't hand over your power and pray that someone else knows what to do with it. You take the damn wheel. I know why you're afraid. What if you crash? What if you don't know where to go? What if you take the wrong turn and end up alone? But let me tell you something. It's better to be lost on your own than trapped in the wrong place with the wrong person. Because at least when you're in control, you can turn the car around. You can pull over, take a breath, figure things out. But as long as you're just sitting there, waiting for them to drive you somewhere better, you're at their mercy. And some people, they like the power. They like knowing that you're too scared to leave, that you'll sit in the car, seatbelt on, no matter where they take you. That even if they drive recklessly, even if they take you down the darkest roads, you'll stay because they've convinced you that you can't drive without them. And that is the biggest lie you've ever believed. Let me tell you the truth. You were born to steer your own life. You are not a passenger. You are not a backup driver. You are the damn vehicle. And every second you spend letting someone else dictate your direction is a second you're wasting. A second you'll never get back. You're out here building your life around someone else's choices when you should be making your own. You're waiting for them to pick you, to prioritize you, to love you enough to finally take you where you need to be. But what if I told you you don't need them to get there? What if I told you that the moment you decide to stop waiting, stop hoping, stop depending on someone else's direction, that's the moment your real life begins? And I know it's scary. I know the idea of taking back control feels overwhelming. Because what if you fail? What if you don't know the way? But let me remind you, no one knows the way at first. Everyone starts out lost. Everyone questions themselves. Everyone doubts if they have what it takes. But the only way to find your way is to start moving. And that means getting out of the damn passenger seat. That means telling yourself, enough. I'm not letting someone else control my happiness anymore. I'm not waiting for them to decide my worth. I'm not handing over my peace, my confidence, my future to someone who doesn't even know where they're going. I am taking the wheel. And it won't be easy. You'll be tempted to go back, to slide into that seat again, to let them drive just for a little while, because it's comfortable. Because at least then you don't have to make the hard choices. But every time you do, you give away your power. And my friends, your power is too precious to waste. So today, make a decision. You're done sitting in the passenger seat. You're done waiting for someone else to take you where you want to go. You're done handing over control of your own life. You take the keys, you turn the ignition, and you drive. Because your life is too important to let someone else steer it. And here's your affirmation for today. I am in control. I am the driver. My life is mine to steer. Write it in the comments. Say it out loud. Show yourself. Show the world. Because once you start believing it, everything changes. And stay with me because next we're diving even deeper. Why the wrong people don't just steal your time, they steal your energy, and how to take it back. Number 7, your energy is currency. Stop spending it on cheap people. If you keep handing out discounts, don't be surprised when people start thinking you're cheap. And yet here you are, giving out your time, your love, your energy like it's free, like it doesn't cost you anything, like it's unlimited. It's not. Imagine this. You're standing on the street holding a stack of crisp $100 bills. You start handing them out to random strangers. Some say thank you. Some take the money without even looking at you. Some grab it and disappear. And before you know it, your hands are empty. You reach into your pockets, but there's nothing left. Now tell me, would you ever do that in real life? No. Then why do you keep doing it? With your energy? Why do you keep pouring yourself into people who take and take but never give anything back? Why do you keep investing in relationships that leave you drained, empty, and wondering why you feel so exhausted? Because somewhere along the way, you were taught that love means sacrifice, that real relationships require effort, even if the other person isn't putting in the same. That if you just give enough, if you just try hard enough, they'll see your worth. But let me tell you something. Love is not an all-you-can-eat buffet where people come and fill their plates while you starve. Your energy is currency. Your time, your attention, your love. These are not cheap things, and not everyone deserves access to them. But I know what you're thinking. What if I stop giving and they leave? What if I pull back and they forget about me? What if I don't try and I lose them? Then let them go. Because anyone who only sticks around when you're overgiving, overextending, over-sacrificing isn't really there for you. They're there for what you provide, and the second you stop, they're gone. Let that sink in. Real connections don't require you to bleed yourself dry. Real love doesn't demand that you deplete yourself just to keep someone interested. A person who truly values you will never put you in a position where you have to lose yourself just to keep them. And yet, you're still here, spending your energy like it's monopoly money. You text first, you plan the meetups, you check in when they go silent. You keep giving, hoping they'll finally see what they have. But let me tell you something. If they don't see it by now, they never will. You keep hoping that your love, your loyalty, your consistency will be enough to change them. But people don't change because you love them harder. People don't suddenly wake up and say, wow, I should start treating them better, just because you let them walk all over you. You teach people how to treat you by what you accept. And when you keep pouring your energy into the wrong people, you are stealing from the right ones, the ones who would actually show up for you, the ones who would pour into you just as much as you pour into them. But they can't find you because you're too busy feeding empty mouths that never feed you back. Let me make this clear. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some people are only around because you keep serving the meal, and the second you stop, they leave. Not because they ever cared, but because the food was free. Think about that. You wouldn't walk into a store and expect to take whatever you want without paying, right? So why do you let people walk into your life, take your energy, your kindness and your love, and give you nothing in return? Because you're afraid of being alone, afraid that if you stop giving, they'll find someone else, afraid that pulling back means you're being selfish. But listen to me carefully. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it's survival. The world has convinced you that being a good person means giving endlessly, never asking for anything back, and tolerating treatment that you'd never accept for someone you love. But let me ask you this. If you saw someone you truly cared about draining themselves for people who don't appreciate them, what would you tell them? You'd tell them to walk away. So why can't you do the same for yourself? You have to start treating your energy like it's gold, like it's something rare and valuable, because it is. Stop handing it out for free. Stop giving your time to people who make you feel like you have to earn theirs. Stop entertaining connections that leave you tired, questioning yourself, and feeling like you're never enough. You are more than enough, but you'll never feel that way if you keep surrounding yourself with people who make you prove it. And here's the real truth. The people who truly deserve your energy, you won't have to beg for their attention. You won't have to question where you stand. You won't have to feel drained after every interaction because the right ones pour back into you. They match your effort. They don't make you feel like you have to audition for a place in their life. So today, right now, you make a choice. Stop handing out VIP access to people who should have never made it past general admission. Stop wasting your emotional currency on people who can't even afford the price of loyalty. Stop throwing away $100 bills on people who only give you spare change. You choose you, and here's your affirmation for today. My energy is valuable. I will no longer waste it on people who do not deserve it. Write it in the comments, say it out loud, claim it, and stick around because next we're diving even deeper. Why trying to convince the wrong person of your worth is costing you something far more valuable, your peace. Number 8. The real one won't need convincing, so stop selling yourself. The right one will know your worth. The wrong one will make you prove it. You are not a product. Love is not a sales pitch. And yet, here you are, marketing yourself, trying to prove your value to someone who isn't even shopping. You're offering discounts, making excuses, hoping that if you just show them enough, give them enough, love them enough, they'll finally realize what they have. But let me ask you this. Does gold beg to be chosen? Does a masterpiece lower its price because someone walks by without noticing? No, because value doesn't beg. Value doesn't convince. The right person won't need a commercial. They won't need persuasion. They won't need to be sold on you. They'll know. They'll see. They'll show up without hesitation, without games, without conditions. So stop trying to prove yourself to people who were never your buyers in the first place. You are the prize. Act like it. Write it in the comments. I am the prize. I do not chase. And if this hit home, like this video, subscribe and share it, because someone out there needs to hear this just as much as you did. Stay tuned. The best is yet to come.